Good. Thank you, everybody. Just checking with the audience. So somebody in the back row, can you give me a wave? Right. Am I pitching this okay? Can you hear me? Excellent. Good. So my name's Michael. I am director of Opel. My main qualification for talking to you today is that I am a former child. Quick indication just how many former children in the room? Okay, there's a worryingly few number of hands went up, but thank you, former children. I'd just like you to remember what it was like to be 10. How important was play to you when you were 10? How important is it to you now? You are the gatekeepers. You are the power holders. So what we're interested in is why play has the answer to the very things that Tim was talking about this morning. And when he was ticking off the things, I was thinking, yep, that's Opel, that's Opel, that's Opel. So we will have a look at that. I'm going to warm you up with a Spot the Difference competition. I don't know if you remember them from the back of cereal packets, you know, 2 pictures, spot the difference. I'm going to show you 2 great ape enclosures. So these are 2 places where great apes spend a lot of their time. So the first one is Toronto, where we go. Whoever looks after these great apes has put a lot of thought into what are their innate natural behaviors and what do they need. So they need lots of access to nature because great apes that aren't exposed to nature experience stress and aggression. A lot of stuff to move their developing bodies, so lots of upper body strength. Obviously, great apes have a lot of need for upper body movement. They've got intelligent minds, so they need lots of stuff to move around. Not too exposed, because exposed animals, again, experience stress. So that's Toronto. Hold that in your mind. I'm going to show you London next. There we go. There's a great ape enclosure in London. This is where great apes spend a lot of their time. You can see the people who have provided that have really thought a lot about what those great apes need, hence the 10 dandelions for their exposure to nature, and the seats for the adults to sit on while they shout at the children. You'd think that looks like a prison yard, wouldn't you? Well, I did have a look at what HM Inspectorate require for adequate prison yards. And let's have a look how we're doing against prisoners. So we have we're not averaging an hour's playtime. No, a lot of schools do not have enough area for children. They're certainly not attractive, and they're not fit for purpose. They don't meet the 16 play types. I spend more time talking about coats and welly boots than anything else. No, children are not equipped to go and use our climate. And the message from schools is the outdoors is wet and it's dangerous and it's muddy, and basically don't go out there unless you are doing some sort of formal activity. So you know, maybe we should go back to the apes. Maybe animals are doing better. Well, let's look at chickens. Anybody buy free-range chicken here? A couple of people probably do. I certainly do, and the reason I do it is I would rather eat a happy chicken than an unhappy chicken. Unfortunately, you know, those chickens have good protection. There are minimum space requirements, 3 square meters per chicken. Does anybody know what the government's guidance for free schools is on outdoor space, square meters per child? 0. 0 square meters per child is the amount of requirement. So these animals have protection, the Animal Welfare Act. And what that says, let's compare for children, a suitable diet. Do they get that? Well, thank you, Jamie. At least we've moved on from turkey, Twizzlers and chips, ensuring that normal behavior patterns are supported. For children, outdoor play is the fundamental normal behavior pattern. That is what that's what you got to do. That is what other children need to do, and no, it is not supported, and no, a suitable environment for that is not provided. So they are housed with other animals, and generally we expect schools to protect them from injury and disease. So we're still not there, really, are we? Was it better in the 90s? Well, we had great leisure wear, didn't we, in the 90s? We had girl power, and we had an average of 45 minutes per week more active free playtime. So now, through all the initiatives, we have an average of 45 minutes per week more PE and sport. Oh, but we've taken that choice and freedom and self-directed, motivated behaviours off them, and now, yeah, same time, but less of what they choose. Where is childhood going at the moment? It's probably not going in the right direction, if we think about it. The World Health Organization guidance for free outdoor play is 3 hours a day. We reckon from our research, UK children get, on average, 5 hours a week. The World Health Organization guidance on screen time for the over 2s is 1 hour. The UK average is 6 hours a week, plus with the putting of whiteboards into classrooms, there's an average of 4 hours extra whiteboard time in a classroom. Our children are getting 10 hours a day screen time, where they're not moving their bodies, they're not experiencing the real world. Everything is secondary experience, not primary experience. And if anything that schools should be promoting in primary school, it's primary experience. So where's the funding going? Half of all the adventure playgrounds in London have shut in the past 7 years. Play England went from 93 staff 7 years ago to 0.3 staff this year. 2 billion has gone into sport and PE, 0 has gone into supporting active play. And that money, and you might have heard my question, has mainly had an impact on children who were already sporty. We go into hundreds and hundreds of UK primary schools, and I can tell you that the sports premium is mainly benefiting sporty boys. Great. I have nothing against sporty boys whatsoever. But we need something different. We need investment that doesn't just target people who already like sport and PE. And if you don't like sport and PE, making you do more of it is not a good thing. I used to work for MenCap, and my residents used to go to day centres, and I asked my centre manager, what is a day centre? And he said to me, well, we find out what they don't like and we can't do, and they have to do it all the time. That's not what we want. Is there another way? Well, we think we've found another way. We have improved playtime for over 500,000 children, building on what they love to do, what is innate behaviour for all of them. So we combine what I randomly picked up in my not planned career, school improvement techniques. For 10 years, I was a school improvement advisor. I was also an early years teacher, and I drove a play bus. I'm a trained play worker, and yes, it is a real profession. You can do a degree, you can do a master's, you can do a PhD in play work. The profession that understands the relationship between the adult and the child in the process of play. So I can tell you what we do, but actually you're never going to get it until you see it. What does an Opel school look like? There are 6 head teachers that I have brought from all over the country for you guys to talk to. They will be wearing a little Opel badge today. Please seek them out and find them and ask them, what does great play in your schools mean in terms of physical activity and inclusion? And they will tell you. But I can show you this. This is one school, one playtime, one walk around that playtime, filmed during one school playtime. So let's hope that it plays. If I click it. Yes. The children choose the music. In this case, it's Nicki Minaj. This is the Massey restaurant. See how much physical activity you spot in this video. I'm just being my usual weird self. So you get the idea. And what you didn't see in that video was play equipment. We are a cultural change organisation. And those of you that have been involved with cultural change know that it's like turning around an oil tanker. It requires a lot of force, it requires a lot of time, but once you redirect in the right direction, that momentum is unstoppable. So the Opel heads that are here today are in schools that have been doing Opel for 4, 5, 6 years since we left them, and the impact is still there. So there are lots and lots of projects that work with children's physical activity, but I think we are different from them because we are building on absolute innate behaviours. It's all very well going in and doing stuff to children, but the minute you take the adults away, the benefit will leave. When you build on absolute innate behaviours, the minute the adults walk away, the children are like, phew, thank you. We're perfectly capable of playing, thank you, when you allow us. So that is the difference. That's why we think that our programme is different. Although children have lost 45 minutes of their playtime over the week, it still makes up 1.4 years of their 7 years at primary school, and we think that those 1.4 years are worth investing in. You know, that's a lot of time, and yet schools have no strategic response to it, no idea of excellence, no plan, no support. So we support cultural change through what we call PARC, Policy, Access, Risk and Knowledge. For most of our schools, their policy, before we work with them, is dictated by the 3 parents that complain the most about dirt and about hurt, about scratches and bumps and bruises and messy uniforms. Children's clothing should be there to suit the needs of childhood and not childhood adapted to suit the needs of clothing. And we are seriously off track with how we dress our children. And we have a choke chain reaction to problems. We restrict, we withdraw, we take children's freedom away from them. We work a lot with school grounds. This is a very, very normal primary school, and that dark green area is where year 1 and 2 spend 85% of their year. So schools are currently wasting, and Tim was talking about existing assets, schools are currently squandering the £80 billion of assets that they own. On average, schools go on their fields, use their fields between 5 and 15% of the year, and children typically have access over that time to between 8 and 12% of their grounds. It's just not good enough. And there is a really, really simple answer to this. One is becoming weather resilient. The average school reckons there's 4 weather conditions, which is it looks like it's going to rain, it is raining, it's just finished raining, or it's too hot to go out. And we bring this absolute revelation to them. Look at that. I say, have you heard of these? Have you heard of that? You could invest in these, and your children could go out and they could come acclimatized to the climate in which they live. Absolute revelation. That's the sort of investment that we're talking about. We don't want £100,000 per child. 20 quid might do it. Because we want schools that are weather resilient. We want children that are resilient to going outside and not getting permanent messaging that that's a bad thing. And we have to go beyond the risk of what's already known and already easily accomplished. Knowledge, children experience all 16 play types. Schools must understand and provide for them, and they must understand how to provide a landscape in which play happens. So what's the impact? We know that our schools access their grounds 85% more. We know that we are reaching the unreachable. Look at this picture. Now, we have a challenge for the sports and PE sector, and that's use the P word. Come on, you can do it. You can use the P word. Not PE, play. Play is active. Play is inclusive. Look at these children, pulling, pushing, climbing, swinging. Look at the girls in that picture. How many of those children have special needs? I'm not going to tell you, but I know there's tons of them. You can't pick them out. And our teachers say this again and again and again. We are reaching special needs. We are reaching the hard to reach. We are reaching the girls. So without any funding, we have managed to improve the lives of 500,000 children. The resources are there. The resources are being squandered. The bad supervision of play in schools costs us £750 million a year. We reckon £100 a year, £100 would sort each child. So finally, our recommendations are that we should build on behaviours that are innate to all children and therefore sustainable and inclusive. That we should recognise the contribution of active play, especially based on schools, in policy and national strategies. And that we should fund active play projects and programmes where the outcomes align with sporting and active nation strategies. And we think that we've done those things. We think that we're innovative, we are proven, we're effective, we're aligned with national strategies, we're efficient, and we're scalable. I started this doing 11 schools in 2011. We're doing 100 schools a year now. We're doing 42 schools in Canada, 2 in Poland, and influencing policy across 5 European countries. So it's really about time the UK caught up with those other countries that have picked up our model and going with it. So I hope you found that interesting. I hope you found it challenging. You know, we're meant to be disruptive. We're meant to be challenging. I hope you will go and find somebody with an Opel badge and say, is he kidding? Is it really true? Because we've brought head teachers from you from all across the country for you to go and quiz and say, is this right? So thank you very much.